Alex Chalk, the Justice Secretary, has been on the BBC News this morning and said that it's important to establish a chronology and who knew what when. Time, he said, is of the essence. And the culture and media editor, Katie Razzle, says it's not yet known how the initial complaint was received. But it's quite clear that there was an initial complaint made on May the 19th and that the BBC acknowledged that complaint and nothing seems to have been done. And on Radio 4 in the Today programme, there was a general assumption that Tim Davie is now facing a very grave situation. I expect it will lead to his resignation. The point is, this is extraordinarily indolent and casual. It's casual of the BBC. Somebody makes a complaint and they just shift it on. But this is the same attitude expressed by the BBC as also by Ofcom. It's only when there is a flurry of publicity that these organisations seem to take any note, and then they have egg all over their face. I think the big story here is not the identity of the person who was involved in this scandal, who perpetrated this scandal, who was sitting in his boxer shorts without a tie, and pontificating about when and how this youth should have the capacity to telephone him. It's this particular person mirrors the extraordinarily driven sense of control that production and that these corporations, the BBC, ITV, Channel 4, wield. And we shouldn't be greatly surprised about that. But it's the casualness as well, the casualness and the control. And anybody receiving this message on May the 19th would surely have recognised that there was a safeguarding issue, if not for a member of staff, then for a member of the audience. And if the BBC has no respect for its audience, then frankly it should give up. The Protection of Children Act 1978 says it's a crime to take, make, share or possess indecent images of people under 18. And there is a prison sentence attached to that crime. And although we can't say that a crime was committed, safeguarding would strongly recommend that this matter was passed on at that point to the police. It wasn't passed on to the police until the weekend. That's too late. It was only passed on to the police once the Sun got hold of the issue. So, this is a demonstration of a lackluster system in the BBC. There is control in the system in the BBC, but it's control by the executives, by the producers, for their own interests, not for the interests of the viewing public and not for the interests of lesser mortals in the corporation. And that is worrying. And the same level of control and news management is to be found in ITV, it seems, and perhaps even in Channel 4. This is a pandemic that's spread across British media, and we need to change the way that works. That could be changed by the DCMS, by the Secretary of State for the DCMS or whatever, however the acronym is now. I think it's changed. It has changed. The digital is missing. But she again doesn't say anything. She's only been dragged into speaking because everyone else was speaking. I think the first thing she said about this was yesterday afternoon. And that's a bit late when she is the person ultimately in charge. And she had an opportunity, as indeed did Nadine Dorries, to deal with this in 2019, to deal with the way that production and studio executives, corporation executives, are obsessed with controlling their talent and their programs to the exclusion of safeguarding and the safety of the people appearing on the programs and those people watching the programs. This is all connected.